everybody, welcome to Sew Plum. I am Toony. Thank you for being here. In this video, I am going to share with you my project of the month for March, and that is English paper piecing. In case you've never heard of English paper piecing before, let's go over the definition. According to paperpieces.com, English paper piecing, or EPP, is a method of hand piecing using paper templates to stabilize fabric. As the name suggests, English paper piecing started in England in the 1700s. It was then brought to the United States out of necessity and popularity. Fabric is basted to paper shapes using thread or glue, and then the pieces are stitched together by hand, usually with a whip stitch. English paper piecing allows quilters to create very accurate shapes. Some of the most common shapes used for English paper piecing are hexagons, honeycombs, triangles, and squares. In this video, I'm going to share with you some of the supplies that you're going to need for English paper piecing, how I do English paper piecing, and my reflection on this particular hand piecing method. Towards the end of the video, I'm going to share with you the pattern for this particular bag because this bag inspired me to try English paper piecing, and I would like to share the pattern with you so that you could try it out. I really hope that by the end of this video, you will be inspired to try English paper piecing if you haven't already, and this pattern can get you started. So first, let's find out what supplies we're going to need for English paper piecing. Supplies that you're going to need for English paper piecing include some scrap fabric, paper templates, hand sewing needles, dry glue, some scissors, and last but not least, a thimble. Okay, first, paper template and fabric. The size of your paper templates is going to determine the size of your fabric over here. For example, this one is a hexagon. It's one of the most popular shapes for English paper piecing, and it says here that each side is 3/4 of an inch wide. This is my 2.5 inch square fabric scrap. So this one is going to work quite well because if I place the template on top of the fabric, you can see that on each side I have at least 1/4 inch extra. I'm going to trim the fabric so that it's in the same shape as the paper template. Yep. As for templates, there are many types of English paper piecing templates. You can get pre-made templates online, or you can buy acrylic rulers and then just like trace out the shapes. For me, I print these out on cardstock paper and then I just cut individual pieces. Next, we're going to talk about needles. These are all hand sewing needles. Well, this one is a needle threader, which is very handy when you use hand sewing needles. Okay, so we're going to put this aside for now. If you go to a big box craft store or even quilt shops, you can buy these assorted craft needles. Like they come in packs, you know, and they're different sizes. For English paper piecing, you want to use small needles because you want small holes when you piece the little hexagons together. For example, you don't want big holes. Okay, so for this set, you might want to go with the smallest needles here. For me, I bought these applique needles, number 10 applique needles, and number 10 straw needles, and these worked great. However, you can see that these eyes are very small, and I'm not that old, but I did have a hard time threading the needles, and I had to use my needle threader that came with one of my sewing kits from a long time ago, and it fell apart during the process, so I bought a new needle threader. So if you're like me, just make sure that you have a needle threader to help you with the threading process. Alternatively, you can get these Big Eye needles. These are tulip number 10 Big Eye applique needles. And if we turn over to this side, you can see that the eyes are a little bit bigger. Okay, let's see if I can compare them. Hopefully you can see. Yeah, the eyes of these needles are a little bit bigger than the eyes of these ones. So that should help also. For me, I'll just try and see what works best. And these are not expensive, so give it a try and see which one works best for you. Of course, different people recommended different kinds of threads. I happen to have bobbin embroidery thread, 60 weight polyester thread. I have a few bobbins of these, so I'm just gonna use this thread out of convenience. Next, we're gonna talk about glue. There are different methods to use for basting, for English paper piecing. You can baste with thread or you can baste with glue. I decided to go with the glue method, and for this project I purchased this fabric glue. It's a thinner glue stick, so I think it works better with like smaller areas. If you don't want to get an extra glue stick, or if you can't get a hold of fabric glue for some reason, you can use all-purpose glue like this, and all you need to do is use a Q-tip to just like dab a little bit of glue on here, and then just dab it on the edges of the fabric. I would not recommend liquid glue for this project just because it can get messy. For English paper piecing, eventually you're going to take the paper templates out. You're not going to keep them under your fabric forever. Liquid glue tends to stick a little bit better, and it could cause problems when you try to take the paper out. It could tear the paper or even damage your fabric. So I will stick with dry glue for English paper piecing. Last but not least, a thimble. A thimble is very useful when it comes to hand sewing of any kind. The most essential thing about a thimble is it's like a mini glove, so you want it to fit. Like this one, it's very nice, it's leather and it's very comfortable. However, as you can see, there's some space here and it does slip out. So what I'll do is I'll just try other kinds of thimbles and see, which one works the best for me. The next section of this video, I'm going to show you how I did English paper piecing for my pouch. My fabric scraps were already cut out in the same shapes as the paper templates, and as you can see here, I just used my dry glue to baste the fabric pieces to the templates. Try not to glue right next to the edges of the paper templates. Try to leave a little bit of space. It's going to help you later in the process. And that's it. Your hexagon is done. I found that glue basting was relatively quick and simple. It was also very relaxing. And as long as you cut out your templates accurately, your shapes are likely going to turn out accurate as well. So the next step is that you're going to connect the hexagons into rows, and it's gonna look like this. You still keep the paper in the back. The paper templates are staying for now. All right, so I'm gonna show you how I do it. It's probably not gonna be the best way, but this is how I do it. This piece is gonna be on the left side, and then it's gonna be like this. So when I piece them all together, they're gonna look sort of like this in this order. All right, now I'm gonna stack them up again so I know which order each one goes. I'm gonna start with this one. This is the first one. First step is you take your first hexagon, well, the one that's gonna go on the left, and then you take your second piece and you kind of lay out how you want it to look. So let's see. I don't really care, honestly. It could be like this. Okay, and then this one could be like this. All right, so that's how I want these two to be connected. Now I'm gonna fold right sides together. Make sure that they're all the sides are even.
And now your row is done. So this is how it works. You sew one row at a time, just like I just did. And then once you got all the rows done, you're gonna sew the rows together. I have one more row to go, so I'm not quite done yet, but this is essentially how it will look. Yeah, so it's coming together. Yay! So now that you've got your individual rows sewn, you're gonna sew them together. All right, and I have gone ahead and sewn the first 3 rows together, and now I'm gonna show you how I sew the 4th row to the first 3 right here, and it's gonna look like this. Okay, and this is gonna be my left side, this is gonna be my right side, and I'm going to start, it doesn't really matter which way you start, whichever way is easier for me. I can start here, and the first seam that I'm gonna sew would be to connect this green one and this blue one. So the way I do that is I'm just gonna turn this one up so that the seams match. So it's gonna look a little bit weird, but it's gonna come together, don't worry. So this is the seam that I'm gonna sew, all right? But once you flip it back, ta-da! So that's how it's gonna look. So you just keep going. I would tie a little knot at the beginning of each seam and the end of that seam. So there'll be a knot here, not here, not here, and not here, and so on. I'm just trying to like extra secure the seams together. These are tiny stitches, and I just don't want them to come apart. So the next one, when you want to sew this smiley sun hexagon to this blue hexagon, right? And you want this seam to be sewn. When you turn it, you're gonna have to smoosh this one a little bit. If you want to keep your templates, you might not want to like fold it back, but if you don't care, then you can just do whatever you want. But I'm just gonna focus on this one and just like use my fingers on my other hand to just kind of keep the 2 hexagons together and lined up. Okay, so now I have sewn all the pieces together, and on the back I still have my paper templates, and now I'm just gonna take them out. I already took this one out because it just came out. Okay, I'm just gonna use my what's this called, tweezer. Just gonna start. Then I use, it was just come on, just kind of like nick it a little. Just take your time and just go slow.
And now your English paper piecing panel is done. The final part of this video will just be me talking about this particular bag pattern. This pattern is called the Hexie block pouch. It took me a minute to remember. By Minki Kim, and her website is sewingillustration.com. Minki Kim also has her own YouTube channel, and her projects are so adorable. Before I learned how to do English paper piecing, when I thought of hand sewing, my brain just went, ooh. Because I feel like hand sewing just involves a lot of precision and like craftsmanship that I do not have. But then Minki Kim had a pattern sale on her website. And when Minki Kim has a pattern sale, my brain just goes, I want to buy everything. So I decided that I would pick a pattern based on a new skill that I would like to learn. So that's how I decided to try this pouch because it will allow me to try a new skill, which is English paper piecing. If you're watching this video, chances are you are interested in English paper piecing, or at least you're curious. What the heck is English paper piecing? And now that you know a little bit about English paper piecing, you might feel like, hey, I could give it a try. In which case, let me give you a pep talk and tell you to give it a try, because look, I personally think this pouch is a perfect first English paper piecing project because it's not big, and if you don't like it, you can just turn it around. If it's a crossbody bag, you can just put it against your body like that so nobody else can see. What I've learned from this project is that hand sewing is very relaxing. Hand sewing is an essential skill for mending and for creating, and also it just kind of forces you to slow down a little bit and just kind of focus on this one thing instead of a million other things around you. And I think we all could use some hand sewing time in our lives. I hope that was helpful. Please let me know in the comment section below if you would like me to try another technique, or if you have any suggestions, comments, or advice, anything at all. As always, thank you for getting lost in the stitches with me, and I'll see you next time.